Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
All right, guys, so this is going to be harder than we thought, huh? I mean, I'm starting to think we'll end up seeing this president, I was thinking, taken out in handcuffs. No, in a straitjacket. The guy is insane. He is incapable of self-control. His narcissistic personality disorder is so intense, motivates every move he makes, that he can't. In any given day, even today, I mean, today is all of, 10 hours old. There are already enough stories out from D.C. that would constitute huge, huge stories on any other day in any other reality. We can't even cover what's going on. It is extraordinary. And I'm sorry, I don't even know where to start. We know we're in trouble when some anonymous person who has access to the Twitter account of the Badlands National Park is somebody who I look up to as a hero, whoever he or she is. Heroic. Probably costs whoever it is a job. For those of you who aren't on Twitter or don't see it, the National Park Service, their Twitter account had been shut down by the Trump administration. They fall under the Interior Department, and the Interior Department's someone who had access had put out a picture of Trump's inaugural crowd, not the picture he liked. And so it was closed down. All park Twitter accounts were told to cease activity immediately. And so it pretty much went dark all over. And then someone who had access to the account for the Badlands National Park. Where is that? In the Dakotas?
Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful.
Tweeted this. The pre-industrial concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was 280 parts per million. As of December 2016, 404.93 parts per million. That's heroic? Yeah, you know why? It was pure science, number one. And it was information for the public about the impact of climate change. And it was followed by a second tweet that was more comprehensible. Today, the second tweet said, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is higher than at any time in the last 650,000 years. These are heroic acts in this age. These are heroic acts. Somebody's saying, you are not going to muzzle me. This is America. I'm supposed to tell people no. And then there was one more. Flip side of the atmosphere, ocean acidity has increased 30% since the Industrial Revolution. Ocean acidification. And then there was a fourth one saying burning 1 gallon of gasoline puts nearly 20 pounds of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Well, it took a few hours, but all of those tweets came down fast. I had seen some of them because they were getting retweeted. People understood immediately that those seemingly innocuous tweets from the Badlands National Park were a cry of resistance. Not long after they were taken away, the tweets, the Badlands National Park's phone number went down. Out of service. An attempt to email the Badlands National Park by some reporters couldn't go either. Came back a message that there was a delivery error. Some people managed to get, I guess, through to a person who didn't know what was happening and said, I don't know, we're having a blizzard right now, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The Trump administration has issued gag orders to multiple federal agencies. The Environmental Protection Agency has been informed from the Trump White House that they are to cease all communication with us, with people, the taxpayers who are paying their salaries. They are to cease. I'm reminded, of course, of the line from his inaugural speech in which he said he was giving the government back to you, the people. No, he's not. He's shutting it down. He's putting walls up, indeed. Indeed. EPA employees report they have been repeatedly warned not to speak to reporters, not to post anything on social media. All of the grants that the EPA has given out, all those things have been frozen. Department of Agriculture scientists also have a gag order. Here's what their department email said. Starting immediately and until further notice, U.S. Department of Agriculture will not release any public-facing documents. Wow. This is what the Trump administration is doing. They are gagging our civil servants. They are gagging federal employees. They are being threatened with loss of jobs if they so much as speak to us. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we are in this strange reality where a tweet out of the Badlands about the parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is an act of defiance and patriotism. Sort of like the guy standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square. Caller, hello.
Hello, Lynn.
Yes.
Oh, I got through finally.
Unbelievable. We missed your voice. Hi.
I'm having a little different thoughts on this Trump thing. I want them to show their colors. I want them to
They
do
are.
what they want to do that's going to piss us off. I hope they do it soon because I want to see these bastards piss everybody off, and then we got a movement more than ever. Because if they show their colors, I'm afraid they're going to play little games for a while and wait, and then they're going to show their colors the second half of the term or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're showing their colors.
But they haven't done nothing yet. They haven't,
Well. I mean,
they have, but they haven't. You know what
yes,
I mean?
I understand, but it's all, and they would tell you, all in the optics. So today, the news just this morning, that we're going to start building that wall. And we're going to reopen the black ops jails around the world that the CIA had been running, where they torture people. And we're going to prevent people from certain countries in Africa and the Middle East from getting visas, and we're going to totally freeze the refugee program. He'll come out with his Muslim registry in another few days, probably. I mean, they're doing everything they said they would do, which I guess for the people who voted for him must be great, I guess, that the United States of America, as it has been known throughout its history, is going to disappear does not seem to have occurred to a lot of those people.
Well, just like yesterday when that Tom Price, they were in the hearing, he was saying that the social net can't stay the way it is. He come out and said that basically. And I say, tell the Democrats, I dare you to go ahead, do it, because it's political suicide. And they will feel the wrath. I guarantee they will. Because once they start messing with things that people feel in their pocketbook, you know there's going to be problems. So go ahead and do it. I dare all of you try to socialize or privatize all of it. You'll see what will happen to you. And that's what I hope they do. I hope they show their, like I said, their true colors on all this stuff real soon, because there will be a uprising.
I don't know.
I think so. I'm pissed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if they start doing the stuff to piss people off, this next time there's an election, we're going to get some stuff back. We are.
Well, okay.
That's my only hope right now.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's hope You're right, I guess. Okay, thank you. Glad you got through. Thank you.
Bye.
James writes, the alternative facts part of Trump world is actually pretty fun. My Facebook newsfeed has been filling up with them. Ignoring facts and living a fantasy has made for a really fun week. I can be rich, I can be young, I can be handsome. He's making America great again. Whatever you want, you can make your own reality now. Just follow the president. He is our great leader. So he freaked out the media yesterday. Well, Sean Spicer did. By flat out telling us all that the president believes that there were 3 to 5 million illegal votes cast in our last election. And he tweeted this morning that he is going to launch a massive federal investigation. There is not a person of any stature or excuse me, guys, I'm struggling today. It is known that this country has very little voter fraud. It is known. The Republicans have been pushing this alternative fact for years so they can then legislate in their state houses voter suppression laws that are supposedly protecting the integrity of our election from all these fraudulent voters who do not exist. So what you have here now with the president insisting that the election he fucking won was tainted by millions of fraudulent votes. Never mind that each state controls its own voting process, and the vast majority of states in this country are run by Republicans. So it is Republican administrations that administer these votes and elections, and to a state they say, we got no fraud here. This is a just open attempt to destroy the little faith Americans still had left in something, which was most Americans in my lifetime, I mean, as far as I know, believe that elections were clean, relatively clean. And the Republicans have spent a lot of hard work over the last few decades destroying America's trust in every institution that sort of held us together as a people. The very idea of public education. They turned that upside down so that now that's government schools. Failing schools. The government itself, they told us, was corrupted. They ought to know. The media, as the president just said the other day, the most dishonest people, the worst people. So they have spent a lot of work making the ground fertile for the ascendancy of a man like Donald Trump. They have spent a lot of time educating people that the media is dishonest, that the government is corrupted, that your CIA and investigative agencies are incompetent. That your president is a Muslim. They've been trafficking in lies for so long. And this is now what we get, the liar in chief. A guy really who should be outfitted for a straitjacket, because he's been in office for what? Less than a week, and he's already coming undone. He's coming undone. Dangerous. Truly dangerous. Chuck writes, is Trump going to govern his entire presidency via executive orders? Yeah, probably. He probably, by the end of the month, he will probably have already done more executive orders than Barack Obama did in 8 years. Today, Chuck writes, he's supposed to sign executive orders specific to immigration and the wall. Yeah. And when Obama tried to use executive orders to impose immigration policy, they were all over him. Well, now, Chuck, we do know, right? I mean, you can bring that up all the time that, hey, when you were outraged, now and it's fine. Well, yeah, that's the way that works. Indeed. Chuck Schumer can't do it alone, and Nancy Pelosi so far has been silent. Our Democratic leadership is not making enough noise. I absolutely agree with you. They're making me crazy. Senator Casey tweeted today that he will work like hell to, I mean, he so far has been voting no, unlike some of these Democrats who've actually been supporting some of these cabinet positions. I don't know. So, I really am. I woke up today and I was immediately thinking about what he had done yesterday with trying to sow division. And the feeling that our electoral system doesn't work and is broken, and how that undermines the democracy, undermines our country. We have a president who is actively working to undermine the country because he needs to shore up his child ego. His got a little boy in the White House, guys. I had a thought last night, and I think it hit me. I thought, who are you? I thought to myself. Who are you to look down at the people who voted for Donald Trump? Who are you to accuse them of cluelessness? Who are you to say that they didn't have a grip on reality, when in fact it's you, I said to myself, who were clueless. It is you who didn't know what was happening. It was you who was living in a bubble. It was you in your superior way of looking at the world. Who are we to look down our noses at them? If you want to see a clueless American, you're looking at her. We got to let that reality sink in a little bit more. We really do. Because there's no way we can mount a resistance if we're not going to be honest about ourselves. Bob writes, Lynn, please try to make it a habit to continue to end your shows by saying 3 words to those who want to get out of this Trumped mess. Not just, we shall overcome, but also, get to work. And I hope you'll also continue to end your shows by eloquently saying 2 words to those who got us into this. Fuck you. Well, like I was just saying, the anger is there. The anger at what the Trump voters have done is there. But I'm equally angry at myself and us for being as unaware as we clearly were. Being as arrogant and so sure of ourselves as we were. So, Chuck writes, I've been listening every day since the election. I used to be an avid NPR listener. I can't even do that anymore. Wanted to let me know about a free workshop next week that is titled Maintaining Emotional Wellness Through a Trump Presidency. This is, if any of you want like a group therapy session, this is happening at the East Liberty branch of the Carnegie Library. That's like right next to like the Ace Hotel, right? And it'll be next Thursday, February 2nd, from 6 to 7:30. So it says here it's a free workshop on managing emotional wellness through a Trump presidency. You will identify tools you can use to take better care of yourself in the face of uncertainty. The person hosting it is a licensed professional counselor who is experienced in providing therapy to survivors of trauma. Just so you know, next Thursday at the library in East Liberty at 6 o'clock. I'll take a call. Hello? Caller, hello.
Hey, Lynn.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I think you're being a little too hard on yourself. This idea of, like, introspection, where did we go wrong?
Yeah.
I think where we went wrong was really trusting a lot of our own Democratic politicians who didn't fight hard enough. That's a whole one issue. But another is there's nothing that you or I could do to fight racism. And I found this latent, this unspoken racism everywhere before the election.
Wait, back up. There's nothing you or I can do to fight racism?
Well, with the people that I was meeting and talking to, Trump supporters. And
you don't think there's anything you could...
No, and that's what was scary. And people I even knew, I didn't realize it was there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nothing that you should feel bad about. That's something I can feel bad about.
But I think we need... then I should feel bad about not knowing my... who my neighbor is, then. I don't want to go through life in a clueless state. I want to know. And this election was just a big wake-up call, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yeah, but when you look at the 8 years of obstruction and how many people, and those same people I knew who, eventually I believe, and they won't admit that they voted for Trump, but they sort of defended the Republicans all along the way. And they didn't fight back, and they didn't see anything wrong in the obstructionism of the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, right. It depends on whose ox is being gored, but...
Sometimes I agree we have to... It's good to be introspective, and again, look, it's the adults that are doing that. So there are some serious... that a lot of Trump supporters, and ones that I wouldn't even put on the crazy scale that I know, that there's nothing I could do. I believe that Trump is a price we're paying for having our first black president. It's a backlash. It's so deeply ingrained in this country.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Take care. Don't be hard on yourself.
Okay. Bye. Someone pointed out yesterday to me that at the inauguration, there was something missing. There was no American Sign Language interpreter.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Stop and think about that. Yeah. Isn't that fucking amazing? Fuck the deaf. Let's take a call. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Clarence. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, I'm alive.
Yes, so are we.
The previous caller,
Yeah.
when she was focusing on the racists that voted for Trump,
Mm-hmm.
the mistake that was made was not focusing enough on the people who voted for Obama the last two times.
And there were tons of them.
And there were tons of them.
And tons of them who voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump.
And then voted for Trump.
Okay, so you would say those aren't,
Well, the mistake that was made is whether they were spoken to or not, they felt like they were. That's the thing. The people talk about the poor, disenfranchised white guys, and the poor, disenfranchised black people. But they didn't vote for the black people. Didn't vote for Trump. They just didn't vote. They didn't come out in the numbers. And of course, the poor, disenfranchised, white guys. And they came out and voted because Trump spoke to them. Not that he's going to do anything for them, but he spoke to them.
Right.
And that's where the mistake was made. And that's recently on Facebook. I went. I said if they go low, I'm going lower, stepping on their toes and kicking them in the balls. Right. So I said because it works. One of my friends, longtime friends, says, Clarence, I can't believe you're doing this. I expected you to do something, more intellectual and high-minded. I said, then I get accused of being, an elitist.
That's right.
I said, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Who's in office?
Yeah, that's right. That is so true.
Yeah. And I said, so that's obviously the thing that works. It's started working for years. It's not me, but I can fake it. And I said, the problem is with Trump is he's going after the media and Hollywood where the most intelligent and creative people are. If we decide to go low, you're going to lose that battle. conservatives tend not to be really creative, just mean.
Well, God knows they've got it down. God knows they've got it down. And yeah, it does certainly work. Oh, they're going to drag us all down with them, though.
And the more, because this is really, I've learned a lot about psychology. The thing is like, love trumps hate. And I found this really good piece that said, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Oh, the fear that got Trump in the office is now on the left because of Trump. Mm-hmm. And that fear.
Well, it's a good motivator for us.
It's a
right.
hell of a motivator for everybody.
Well, that's right. And I mean, in some respects, you could argue that Trump will be what our side needs to finally get our act together. Right.
And the sad part is, the fear that we have is an honest fear.
Yes.
The fear that the right puts out there is fake.
That's true, but that's true.
Yeah, so that's another thing that should be pointed out. Yes, you should be afraid, but you should be afraid for real, not based on reality, not based on alternative facts.
Right.
So.
Oh, God. God help us. Oh, shut up. I know you're the wrong person to say that to.
This heathen. Every time I want to.
Well, I mean, I could say, like, I hope this Coke bottle helps us. I mean, I don't know. We need help.
You know what? There was he's a philosopher, my favorite one, Daniel Dennett, who wrote this thing while he was in the hospital called Thank Goodness. And he meant the goodness of the people who helped him through this and the goodness of the people who created the machines and all that good. So,
yeah, okay.
Good help us.
Okay. Thanks, Clarence. Bye.
Bye.
Henry writes, I have a theory about Trump's voter fraud investigation. I think this is less to do with voter fraud. Well, clearly, it doesn't have anything to do with voter fraud. And more to do with eventually imposing citizen ID cards. Papers. One day it will be common for police to stop us on the street and ask, papers, please. One day, without proof of citizenship, you won't be able to open a bank account, use any government-funded resources, and you won't be able to vote. I think there's, truth in what you say. Oh, Jesus. Leonard. I'm not sure if I agree with you about the fraudulent votes. After all, Trump has a huge brain and probably knows what he's talking about. I think the obvious solution to this quandary is to do the election over again using paper ballots and have each citizen dip their fingers into an ink bottle to prevent them from voting again. I'm sure the right person will win the election then. Yeah. That's from Susan. Yeah, that would work. God help us. Actually, that's what the subject line of this says. God help us. This is from Mary. I just heard that the latest Trump fiasco is that he was having the media arrested at public marches. I think there were some reporters arrested. I saw a little headline on that. As I said, you cannot keep up with what's going on. A little something you miss here would have been a story you would have talked about for 3 weeks back in the good old days. Mary says, I've been trying to watch and listen to the liberal media for some type of comfort and positive view to latch onto. And yesterday what I walked away with was this. The Trump alternative truth that is being shoved down our throats is the most frightening part. If there is no sense or value of the truth in a society, we're screwed. Right. Being an old street fighter, I know street fighting 101 is never let them get your goat. We just have to find our footing. This is a finite struggle. The conservative haters are truly a minority. This is an opportunity for us to tighten up and cleanse our focus. This is Mary who called yesterday. Cleanse is a word she uses. And for me to explore loving. It ain't easy. Well, Mary, I mean, but it's bringing us together, right? It's bringing us together. Roger says, listened to yesterday's show this morning and heard the story about Kellyanne's fight. Oh, about Kellyanne Conway punching some guy out at the ball. While we're appalled at this type of behavior, this is exactly what the minority voters love. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. On the good old days, the good old days when men were men and women were glad about it. Shoot first, ask questions later, solve problems with your fists. And you're right today about cluelessness. I, too, was clueless about how many suckers and non-thinkers vote. In November, I was confident about victory, and as you're well aware of, I am now paralyzed. In an effort to shake my paralysis, I'm calling Planned Parenthood today and tell them I will do whatever they need me to do. Real action not only helps society, but will help get me out of my funk. That is so true. I encourage others in my boat to do the same. Planned Parenthood, environmental groups, the ACLU, and other groups need all the help they can get. Let's not be motionless victims. You know, I redid my will earlier this week. And I left. When I die, I gotta tell you, they'll be cheering at the ACLU and Planned Parenthood. And a lot of environmental groups, too. I don't want to do it soon, but yeah, you we gotta fight in any way we did. Yes, and Governor Jerry Brown did a beautiful anti-Trump speech yesterday. I think it was in his State of the State speech in California. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, you're seeing me in a true funk today. And you know, I can talk a good game sometimes, but quite clearly today is not one of them. I'm just freaked. I'm just freaked. So, I took refuge in watching a period piece on television the other night. It was that series on Victoria, the young queen, on PBS, and I just have to tell you, there's a scene where she's riding with the prime minister, and he's, you know, astride his horse, and she is side saddle. And I looked at it and I thought, Jesus, God! Women were always put in a position to do something in a much more difficult way. How would you like to, on a huge animal, not straddle it, but instead be in a position where you'll just slide right off one side? The human body was made to not to be. And I just, how much harder must it have been to ride side saddle? So the little ladies riding side saddle, and the guys getting to, of course, have the entire horse right under them. And the wisdom of the day was that the little ladies were incapable of almost anything. Stick them in things where they're liver's constricted, their heart can barely stick. I mean, where it's amazing they don't faint more. Make them ride a horse in a most ridiculous manner where there's, I mean, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I'm going to talk about something else. Because I just can't do this constant Trump stuff. I came upon a fascinating piece. Just want to share some of it with you. I don't know if you, like me, a few years ago got really into the bald eagles that, the camera was on. Man, I'd sit for hours looking at the little chicks. I mean, I was so distraught that they wouldn't make it. I was just like, here's the thing. Do you know that bald eagles, do you know that they're turning into serious pests in a lot of places? Killers. They're serious killers. Let me inform you. My hero Ben Franklin did not want the bald eagle as our symbol. In 1784, he wrote to his daughter and said this: I wish the bald eagle had not been chosen as the representative of our country. He is a bird of bad moral character. He does not get his living honestly. Well, it turns out that, bald eagles were in terrible jeopardy of dying off. And it was mostly us who did it, and I'm not talking about shooting them. I'm talking about chemicals and DDT, which was that wonderful, wonderful thing that farmers sprayed on absolutely everything. DDT was not designed to kill eagles, but that's what it did. The DDT killed them and a whole bunch of other stuff. The DDT was carried from rainwater and irrigation into creeks and rivers and bays and snails and other beings that hug the bottom, absorbed all those chemicals, and then those little beasts were eaten by fish, and those little fish were eaten by bigger fish, and then a bald eagle would swoop in and pluck one of those big fishies for its dinner, and as the DDT climbed each rung of this ladder, the chemical actually became more and more intensified. It's called biomagnification. And so bald eagles and other predators were getting the largest, most concentrated dose. It didn't necessarily kill them, but here's what it did. It made their eggs, the shells, so thin that when an eagle sat on them to incubate them, they destroyed them. So the destruction wrought by DDT helped start the environmental movement. You know that. The Endangered Species Act was passed in 1973, and it extended protection to the bald eagle and others. And man, it worked, right? But cut to today. We know there's eagles all over the place now, and they are. They're So this article is mostly about this one guy, one farmer. He's a wonderful guy. Will Harris. He has a farm in Bluffton, Georgia. 4th generation farmer. And he likes to do it right. He just likes to do it right. And he got his first chickens recently. Just thought he'd see. I wonder if I could do chickens too. So he got a little starter flock of 500. And it turned out that went pretty well. And so then he had thousands of chickens. And these are chickens that were free range. They're all over his farm. They're all moving around in all that acreage. They're pecking and scratching through the pastures. They're fertilizing his grass. His cows then would graze. And this is a guy who loves to do it right. He started seeing the eagles. And he didn't mind. He thought, okay, this is how this works. Predators take the easiest prey. So these eagles are going to cull my chickens. And he said, I even made it into a sales pitch. You'll never get a sick chicken from White Oak Pastures because a bald eagle's going to get it first. That was back a few years when there were just a few eagles. And they kept coming. So by late 2015, when the leaves had fallen from the trees and the northern migration had arrived south, bald eagles hung on the branches of Harris's trees like Christmas ornaments. Counting eagles on the farm became a local sport. There were over 80 bald eagles. Wildlife photographers would come. Because you want a picture of an eagle? Heck, go over to Will Harris's farm. My God, they're everywhere. So there was this one picture of 3 juvenile eagles sparring in flight, and their talons bared, their wings stretched, and the head of a dead chicken floating in the air in the middle. And believe me, this good soul, this good farmer thought, uh-oh, I got a problem here. He literally had an infestation of bald eagles. And here's a guy who wants... So it says in the article, this guy Harris, he's an idealist. The kind of all-natural farmer whose cows, whose cows are eating grass, whose birds are run free, whose goats and sheep transform overgrown land. His faith in biodiversity, sustainable methods, has only been affirmed by his multi-million-dollar annual revenues. I mean, this is an extremely successful farmer. He tried everything. At great expense, he tried putting big nets over acres, so that the eagles couldn't get to him. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. Dead chicken bodies were all over the place. He said, and you could tell when an eagle had gotten the chicken, because he said the chicken is laid out on its back, its wings spread, its legs intact, only its breasts and organs eaten. So it turns out that eagles like white meat. He found dead chickens on his windshield. He found a dead chicken hanging from a fence. Chickens were slipping from the talons of eagles and falling from the sky. The net didn't work. He tried dogs. They already had a dozen guard dogs on his farm, mostly Great Pyrenees, because they, believe me, kept the coyotes away and the four-legged predators. So, I mean, he's always done things trying to use natural elements. But the dogs couldn't do a thing about the eagles. He says, where do I go to get an eagle-chasing dog? PetSmart? There are no dogs who, that is their, the thing they do. So I found this fascinating because the reality is, and who knew, that there are places in this country where the bald eagle, that majestic being, is a pest. A pest that kills. So that was a different perspective, right? I like that. Oh God, I had the misfortune of catching a little bit of the local news yesterday, and I want to warn you. Apparently there's some snow coming in the forecast. Maybe Thursday or Friday. I'm not quite sure. There was a hysterical edge to the meteorologist's report. But I just wanted to warn you that apparently there's snow coming. And actually, when I was listening to this weather report, it reminded me of Trump. Oh, here we are back again to Trump. Because it was like this. There's snow in the forecast, and only I can save you. That was sort of what the weather report was. Stay tuned. We'll be here all day and all night tracking it. The snow is coming. What do they think they are, Paul Revere? What the big effing deal? Who can watch that shit? Excuse me. Okay. And I know I've told you not to watch the network news. I do on occasion. Isn't it a riot? Who clearly does watch the network news. I mean, you can tell from the advertisements, the commercials that run on the nightly news shows. I started writing down in one break. Here were the advertisers for the nightly news. About 2 different prescription drugs. I can't remember what they were. Dr. Scholl's, Viagra, Alka-Seltzer Cold and Cough, Advil, and Prunes. The network news is clearly now it's going the way of the dodo bird, because its audience they're half dead. Because so many of these drug ads too are for people whose bodies are just given up, right? But the only good thing about sort of listening to those ads is, I'm not in the greatest shape, and I'm listening, but I mean, these pills are for things that sound so horrific that I think, geez, I must be in better shape than a lot of people. Makes you feel better that you don't need that particular pill. And I don't know about you, but this is definitely a sign of old age. I don't even get a lot of commercials anymore. I don't get them. I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, huh? What? I literally can't follow a 60-second commercial. Or I don't even have an understanding of what it is they're selling when they're done with it. Like, what the hell is that? That is a definite sign of old age. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, God. Excuse me. Okay, so I just want to say I am going to wrap up here, and I hope to be in better shape tomorrow. I just want to say this, and I know it's not nice. I loathe Republicans. I loathe them. I'll never forgive them. And I despair that there are any among them who will join the resistance. Well, I despair. But not for long. I'm sure I'll, get my mojo back. And, guys, the fight has just begun. And when one of us starts to flag, like I today, then I'll know that you're there to lift me up. And I will be there to lift you up when you are flagging. We have got to be there for each other. We are living in a fucking nightmare. Together. Thank God you're here. Now go out there and fight.
Lynn Cullen goes live. Lynn Cullen goes live in...
So what number are they calling?
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.